This jacket is so impressive. It looks upcycled, but also it is made so well.
It's connected with war in Ukraine. I really love this story behind, and I love this meaning.
I'm going to be introducing you to Ukrainian designer Ksenia Schnaider. She has been quietly pioneering the future of craftsmanship. Trust me, after this, you are going to change your perception of what upcycling actually is. Ksenia, I've actually known you for so many years. I remember when I first started posting on Instagram, even before I started the Mindful Monday method and exploring sustainable fashion, I was already wearing one of your t-shirts that said sample not for sale.
Yeah. I think it was 2018.
Oh my God.
Or something.
Wow.
17. Yeah.
That's a long time ago. So it's really cool because you started celebrating upcycling before it was cool, before people even knew what it meant. How did you start your brand?
I always was into upcycling as a person because it was quite natural in Ukraine. You cannot find cool clothes, and the only way to source and to look cool is to go and hunt on secondhand shops. And we always have a lot of them. So that's why I have this, I don't know, I was trained for this since my 14, 13. So I was always redesigning, reworking something old into something new, even before I became a designer. And then I started my own brand, and I was working with fabrics as it's supposed to be. And I think it was 2015 when I really wanted to create a pair of jeans. I had a vision in my head, and I knew I had to make it real. And I couldn't find a factory who will be able to produce just one sample for me, because they all wanted quantities, and at that time I couldn't provide quantities. So I decided to go to secondhand, buy a few old pairs, and I made my pair out of old pairs. So that's how Demi Denims became. And I went to Paris to showroom, and I was thinking, if buyers would order, I would tell them that I will produce these jeans from denim material. So, but when buyers saw this pair, they said, we like it like this. Can you produce like this? Can you produce out of old jeans? And it was so inspiring for me, and it was this magic
light bulb.
Yeah. When I came back to Ukraine, and I realized I need to, and I get first orders, and it was from nice stores like Selfridges, and they believed in this this approach. So, and I needed to create a really huge amount of such jeans, upcycled jeans, and no one knew how to do it. So I just hired people, and together we started building this system, how to source, how to wash, how to match colors, and how to produce, make it mass production, but still a lot of with hands and, with passion involved. So
it's mass production, but not in the way that we think of industrial,
yes,
thousands of units, mass in terms of a small brand.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's hundreds of units.
Yeah, okay.
But still,
I don't know if that's mass, yeah.
Yeah, but for us at that time, it was it was huge.
Right.
So we upcycled around, it was 5-6 tons of old jeans per season. So for us, it was a lot to rework, to source, and to do it everything in our small studio.
And what's really cool about this is that I'm hearing that sustainability came after craft, if that makes sense. You had the skill set first, you landed something that was cool, that people wanted to wear, that was well made, and you just happened to realize that this is a more sustainable mode of production.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but I like that because there's something so authentic about that. When I started doing what I do and trying to educate people on quality clothes, I wasn't thinking about sustainability. It was only after, actually it was quite quick, it was 2 months. And then I was like, wait a minute, there's a lot more to it. But I love that so many people are in this space and they come to the same conclusion, but from different beginnings.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, it was I didn't believe in this story. Even myself, I was wearing such clothes for like my whole life, but I didn't believe in industrial level that industry, like fashion industry, is ready to consume such product, to buy, to wear. So that's why I was like working with fabric. But to be honest, I really love to work with the product and recreate. It's where my main inspiration in my studio. I just take everything and start like working with my hands, and that's how I came with ideas.
I feel like that's very interesting because it came from almost a place of necessity and out of love of fashion. You had to teach yourself to work backwards. A lot of fashion education now, at least the designers I speak to, tell me it is so hard to upcycle. They want to, but they're like, it's so much longer and in many ways sometimes more expensive because of the labor.
Yeah, it takes much more time. First you need to source for the right colors and right thickness, right, I don't know, whatever. Then you need to unstitch to be able to cut what you want. So to unstitch one pair of jeans, if you're like a professional, it will take 1 hour. And imagine if you need to produce, I don't know, 100 of jeans, you need to it's a lot of it's really time consuming,
and you haven't even started cutting
you just
preparing
and it's already like months of this preparation work.
So with your jeans now, how many pairs of jeans does it take to make this?
Usually we take 2 pairs to create one. It's just because of our design. It's like, of course, you can just recreate 1 pair into 1 pair, but for me, it's not so exciting because I prefer to create new forms. That's why I need more material and more space.
And you don't just do denim as well. I mean, this jacket is so impressive.
Thank you.
I've never been stopped more in the street from when I wore this, because I've actually worn this before. I wore this during, I think, London Fashion Week, I want to say last year. I'm trying to think what color hair did I have last year. And I think 4 people in half a day stopped me in the street, in cars, on the streets. It was very impressive. And I think it looks upcycled, but also it is made so well. And it's one of those things you can't always see from e-commerce, but when you engage with it in real life, you're like, oh my God, this is exquisite. So tell me how long this would take you.
Yeah, when we started upcycling on such scale, people just started reaching me and saying like, we have this stock, or we have this unsold goods, and that's how a lot of designs were born, very randomly and organically. And the story of this line is really touching because it's connected with war in Ukraine. And when the war started 2 years ago, our men, they stopped wearing ties and suits. They changed it into uniform, or I don't know, just hoodies. Even our president, he's not wearing such formal wear. So, and one woman, she sent me a message that she has a lot of shops of such clothing, and she just want to donate them. And so she was donating such clothes to soldiers in hospitals. So when they are going out of hospital and their relatives meet them, they're wearing nice suit, but they don't need ties, obviously, for such occasion. So she said, I have thousands of ties, and some of them are vintage, some of them are modern. So maybe you can just take them and create something. And I really love this story behind, and I really love to recreate like something from menswear into women's wear. And I love this meaning that I can, like, I don't know, I just love this whole story. And it was collection from, I think, 2 seasons or 3 seasons ago, but for me it's timeless, and we still keep producing such blazers, just,
Because you have the resource for
yes, and we have unlimited resource, like a lot of ties, and people start reach outing on Instagram, like, oh, I have a lot of ties as well from my, I don't know, grandfather maybe, and I don't know what to do with them, and they they started sending ties to us. So
I think that's amazing. I actually had no idea that that was the background of it, and I actually thought, oh my god, I'm gonna start crying now. I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. I promise, no more crying on the internet. I had no idea that that was the background to it, and I think when we think about craftsmanship and we think about luxury, a lot of people believe that, this is lost. And I think we forget that real luxury and real craft actually is grounded in story and history, and it's contextual, and it has so much emotion. And I think that's what is the bridge between what is art and what is fashion. And what should craftsmanship and luxury be? It should be fashion as art. And yeah, wow, hearing that story, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm wearing this. I better not sweat. So I think that's so amazing. I mean, to pivot it a little bit, I've noticed that as sustainability in fashion has become, unfortunately, seen as a trend rather than a way of life and a way of making that is very necessary, I've seen a lot of fast fashion brands kind of appropriating the look of sustainability, whether that looks vintage, looks upcycled, looks reworked. Have you noticed that in kind of impacting you?
yes, to be honest, yeah, we need to educate. I think we need to educate customers more. And I'm really thankful for what you do. I think it's so important. All your stories and this podcast is really, really important. Because, yeah, people, they see nice picture on internet and they see the price is 2 times lower or even 10 times lower than, for example, for Ksenia Schnaider, and they just don't understand the difference. So, yeah.
It kind of breaks my heart, because when you think about how much labor goes into something that you do, and it's so honored, and the people that work for you is valued, and they're trained to work in this very specific way, which is very cool, because it's something that needs to be taught. It's not natural, and it's not something that a lot of fashion schools will focus on. And it's so difficult when we have such a digital visual culture, because your clothes are very visual. And it's something I always say, fast fashion always looks good online. Come on, let's not lie. It looks good online. But luxury always looks better in real life, proper luxury, not just this terrible hype stuff we see. And when you see your clothes in real life, I mean, just the fact that this is so thick, that the ties are intact.
Yeah, and to create this blazer, you need to, some things you need to do by hand. It's impossible to do on machine, so yeah.
And I think a lot of that is lost as well. I mean, how does somebody know what the difference is now when we expect all our clothes to be industrially manufactured?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer. I'm sorry.
I also wanted to, on that point of that tension between price and simply an aesthetic versus a quality product, do you find that people think upcycle clothes should be less because it comes from waste?
Yeah. I mean, now it's much more better. People really appreciate, starting to understand the whole story. I mean, some people, but in the beginning, it was really hard for us to protect us, to make them appreciate what we do.
I always think it's so important to turn your clothes inside out.
Yeah.
Because that's a very easy way, without having to, read any information, watch any videos, or even learn how to sew. If you turn your clothes inside out and they are as beautiful on the inside as they are on the outside, that is such a great way to tell if it's good quality.
Yeah, it's the easiest way.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there was kind of a product that you would love to develop and you haven't done so yet, where you can really show off your craft, what do you think that would be? Because you've already done denim fur.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that was a thing?
It also came out of, just like ordinary day in my studio, because we have a lot of like threads on the floor, because we, it's crazy process, so it's sometimes a mess. And my husband, he just pointed on threads and said, we can produce fur out of this. And we just started to experiment, really, because this fringe is amazing, denim fringe is amazing. And how can we like work on this and create like not fur, but something similar?
That kind of shaggy texture.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I saw that when I was in Berlin. For that Berlin Fashion Week talk. That's the first time I saw the kind of shaggy, the denim fur. I just thought, why has no one else thought about this? And then there are so many, there are so many innovations out there that use plastic to create.
Yeah.
But yours is cotton denim.
Yeah, it's cotton. Yeah. So it will, I mean, it's upcycled already, and it will be, and it could be recycled or, just, how to say?
Biodegrade.
Yeah. Thank you.
Biodegrade. Perfect. So is there kind of like a product out there that you're really excited to experiment with because you've discovered a new way to do something?
As I told you, like, I prefer to go to my studio and just like, I can work with, I don't know, I don't have limits. I think I can upcycle anything. I just, I really love this challenge when it's, and when it's really like something unexpected. So I'm open. If you have some dead stock or unwanted, I don't know, clothes or shoes, just send them to us.
Even shoes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be a whole new category.
Yeah, it's something we're exploring. Yeah.
I would love to ask you if you have any recommendation of a book, podcast, app, someone to follow. Who's inspiring you right now?
I would recommend my Ukrainian friend, Julie Pilipas. She also has, like, she started a few years ago an upcycling brand, Better. You know her, yeah?
Yes. I did a video because I wore one of the blazers and I thought it's been a long time since I have seen a blazer so well constructed.
Yeah.
The modular blazers. And the fact, now I'm gushing about somebody else, sorry, but she's your friend.
Yeah.
I'm allowed, yes.
Of course.
So she has this passport
Yeah.
on the inside.
Yeah, each garment has a passport. So, yeah, and the story where it came from and, like, like everything she knows about this particular item, she tries to put into this passport. So
It's interesting because right now there's been so much focus on digital passport and tracking clothes and tracing clothes, and it's especially important, I think, for something that had an origin. It just makes sense.
yeah, and
So
like you rework it, but you still celebrate this heritage, this like past of the thing. Yeah,
Exactly. And that's a very interesting way as well, I think, to look at luxury.
yeah, I agree.
Ksenia Schnaider is probably one of the most underrated designers that I've ever come across. First of all, she's not as vocal as so many creatives that I've met, yet her work speaks for itself. It's so powerful and so political. Isn't that what art is? I don't know many designers that can achieve that.